let's go across to Parikshit. Parikshit's with us. He's joined by Shashank Srivastava. So that's the promised conversation that we've lined up for you today.
Right. We have seen how Maruti Suzuki is now India's 19th listed company to cross 4 lakh crore in market capitalization as the company's shares surged 23% in 2024. The company sold over 1.63 lakh vehicles in the domestic market in February and total production was over 1.7 lakh units. Maruti Suzuki has exceeded expectations in Q3 of FY24 as it saw a 33% increase in net revenue driven by a 60% growth in the premium utility vehicle segment and strong export performance as well. The company has also launched a campaign for strong hybrid vehicles. Let me go across to the head of sales and marketing, the senior executive officer at Maruti Suzuki, Shashank Srivastava. Mr. Srivastava, as we come to the end of this fiscal, how do you expect the industry to grow over FY23, and how do you expect Maruti Suzuki's performance, if you could give us a percentage in terms of growth that you're expecting?
So for the industry, it's been a very good year. Expected overall sales in the entire fiscal year 23-24 should be around the 42.3 lakh units. This compares favorably with 38.9 lakhs that we saw last year. That's a growth of almost 8.8%. And for Maruti Suzuki, of course, we expect that our growth will be higher than this growth. In other words, we will gain market share by the end of this fiscal. We've already gained some market share thanks to our newly launched SUVs. But I think by the end of March, you will see that our growth much faster than the industry.
Right. So could you just give us the industry growth once again, sir? And what do you expect Maruti Suzuki's growth to be like?
8.8%, I said, would be the industry growth. And Maruti growth would be higher than this. I can't really give you the exact number. It could be market moving. So, but our growth will definitely grow much faster than the industry.
Okay. Now, let me ask you about the consumer sentiment on the ground, especially when it comes to entry-level vehicles. Does the sentiment on ground continue to be muted? Are you seeing a drop in sales of entry-level segments?
Yes, so for the entry-level segment, the sales still remains muted. Remember, just about in 2019-20, the small cars, the hatches contributed about 45-46% of overall sales of passenger vehicles. That fell to almost 30% last year, and currently this year it's around 28%. So yes, we have seen that continuous decline largely because of the affordability factor coming down. And we do expect that in a couple of years, in fact, 2026 second half, that we see a rebound there. But you are right, we do see on the ground, the sentiments for smaller hatches still continue to be muted.
Right. Now, what has been the drop like in terms of the percentage of sales of entry-level vehicles in your entire portfolio?
So if you look at the overall degrowth in the industry for small cars, hatches is about 12% negative this year so far, as compared to, and it's a 6% negative for sedans. It's a plus for SUVs, almost 26% plus for SUVs. For MPVs, it's a plus 16% and about plus 5% for the vans. Overall, as I said, expected about plus 8.8. So largely the growth has been driven by the B segment vehicles, the SUV and the MPVs, as you can see from this data.
Okay. Now, speaking to you about utility vehicles, some of the utility vehicles in Maruti's portfolio have not been performing very well, especially if you look at Jimny. Could you give us the numbers for the Jimny in January and February?
I think just short of 1,000 numbers. That was the number, wholesale number. Of course, as you must have
for both months together?
No, separately.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact number. I think it was 700 in one in January and about 600 something in February. But the retails are a little better. And if you see, for example, in December, we had a high stock of Jimnys, and we could, thanks to our strong sales promotion scheme, we could cover. The retails on that month of December was about 4,500 Jimnys. So after which, of course, we are now producing vehicles exactly as per the requirement. And I think once we see this stock coming down, it has already come down quite a bit, and then we will see a much better number for the Jimny. So far, the Jimny, it was launched in June. We have sold about 18,000 vehicles in 9 months, 9.5 months. So roughly about 1,900 a month has been the average for the Jimny so far.
Right. But is this a number you're satisfied with the sales of the Invicto and the Jimny, or you feel that there is some correction that Maruti Suzuki will do in this range?
So Jimny, when we started off, we got a very good booking. By the way, we had almost so far booking received is 52,000. But we saw some cancellations once we actually introduced the vehicle in June. Remember, the booking started in January. So our expectation, because it's a niche segment, our expectation was between 2,000 to 2,500 vehicles per month. And from the bookings which came in, it did look that we'll probably exceed that. However, what we realized is that that in our country, this culture of off-roading, and remember, Jimny is a pure off-roader, it's available only in 4x4. This culture of off-roading probably will take some time to develop, and that is why we have shifted our focus for the Jimny to actually do experiential marketing. In other words, try to build that culture by actual usage. Because there were suggestions that you could reduce the price of the Jimny by introducing a two-wheel drive vehicle. We considered that suggestion, but came to the conclusion that because of the global legacy that the brand is known for its off-roading, pure off-roading capability, we would not introduce the two-wheel drive version. And that is why we have now wanting to develop this segment. It may take a little while, but I think we have to do that basics now of developing that segment.
Currently, rural versus urban, what is the sentiment like, and what is the kind of outlook you would have for both rural and urban sales for the coming few months?
So rural continues to do well. In fact, so far in this financial year, April to February, rural growth is around 11.7% against a urban growth of about 8.3%. I'm talking of Maruti Suzuki figures. As a result, because of this higher growth compared with the urban growth, our rural share of the overall sales have gone up a little bit from about 44.5% to almost 45%. So that's been the growth. And also in the industry, the growth has been higher, and it has grown from 31% of the industry to almost 33% now. So I think it's been positive for the rural areas, especially because of the heavy investment the government has been making in infrastructure in rural areas. Also, the monsoon, which was a little bit of a question mark because of the El Nino effect, has been, while 6% down over the long-term average, still considered to be normal. Kharif crop output has been about 4% down, but Rabi sowing so far has been on the positive side. So overall, the sentiments look positive for the rural markets today.
Okay. Now, in terms of the order book that you're sitting on currently, what would it be like?
It's about 240,000 odd vehicles. Which has come down over the previous months, as you know, because after the semiconductor crisis got over, we've been able to supply much larger numbers, thereby reducing the waiting period for most of the models now.
Okay. In terms of the outlook for sales for the coming few months as we enter this election season, are you expecting moderation in growth going forward? Do you think maintaining this growth figure is going to be challenging over the next few months and in FY25?
Yes, I think in the FY25, that is the fiscal year 2024 to 25, we expect the industry to grow single digit. And that is because the base effect is pretty large now, the 42.3 lakhs, which I mentioned, which we will end this fiscal year with for the industry. Also, remember that there is a partly the pass-through of the of the repo rate increases, which we saw in the past, over 250 basis point, hasn't yet been built fully in the auto retail loan rates. 130 basis points have been carried forward, and I think 120 basis point we can expect further increase. Remember, the auto loan rates are come with a lag after the repo rate increase. So even if the inflation comes down and the repo rate goes down later on, it will take a significant time for it to be reflected in auto loan rates. So as a result, because of these factors, the sticky inflation, the expected increase in auto loan rates for some time before they come down, has resulted in the industry saying that probably this year, on a strong base, the growth might be a little muted in single digits. Also, remember in last fiscal year, when we started the month, the industry had a very low stock level, about 200,000. That has built up to about 300,000 this year, because this is a more normal level of stock in the industry today. The OEMs had the luxury of wholesaling the vehicles, even if the retail didn't happen. So far in this year, the retail lag expected in the whole year would be about 100,000 units. So 42.3 lakh is the expected wholesale, but the retail is expected is only about 41 lakhs. So that luxury of
Right, so interesting conversation there with the management of Maruti. 42 lakh personal vehicles sold this year for the industry. Maruti itself expects to grow almost 8.8% or over 8%. The industry is expected to grow 8.8%. Even as the overall industry for hatchbacks degrew by about 12%. They saw an increase coming in from their SUVs and multi-utility vehicles. The stock markets rewarded Maruti fairly well as well for the same. Over the last fiscal, the stock is up over 53% and very close to its record high, a level just over 13,000 rupees per share. So big mover out there, and good conversation coming in as well. Take a short break, come back, get you more on the markets. Aditya Agarwala of Invest for Edu joins in with some trading strategies. Remember, it is the expiry session.